Hello, viewers and listeners. Welcome to Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast, a podcast that emphasizes the role of leadership development to advancement, and also how mentorship has played a vital role in making a leader to become effective. And with me today, I always bring a guest, a practitioner, and someone that is in the leadership game, people that are really living out this. The people that we bring to this platform are not tourists. We bring in people that are making a difference, people that are changing lives, because we believe that leadership is a practice, is not just an education, and this is what makes leaders different, because leaders are faced with daily situation that they have to come up with daily decisions. So with me today is one of my highly revered and respected and friend, and also a mentor. Welcome with me, Miss Tina Grimes. Hi, Miss Tina.
Hey, welcome to me and glad to be here.
It's good to really have you on this podcast. And we want to ask you, first of all, I was having this side conversation with you, and I'm big about that because your daughter is so phenomenal. And I was like, how else can you explain leadership than credibility? Because that's the law of credibility, because I believe she got it from you, because I believe she's been watching you as a little child, seeing mama going this way and all that. It was easy for her to fit into that role. But first of all, how did you become aware of this leadership potential that you have inside of you? How did you become aware? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so that is very easy for me to answer. And you actually started off talking about my daughter.
Yeah.
I have two amazing children. You just hear more about one of them because the other is more low key and laid back. And she does get her leadership qualities from me, as well as her dad, who is a phenomenal leader in his own right as well. And it really does lead into my answer. Just like my daughter, I saw leaders in my family my whole life, beginning with my own mother, who was a phenomenal leader. My mother had a short life on this earth, what some would say would be short. But in that time that my mom was here for 42 years, well, actually, she just had her 43rd birthday when she passed away.
Wow.
My mom modeled for me leadership and accountability and modeling in a way that many people who are on this earth for twice the amount of time have never done. So I saw an amazing leader in my own mother. And even beyond my own mom, my grandmother. Anybody who knows me knows that my grandmother is near and dear to me. Actually, my maternal and paternal grandmothers. And I've just seen strong leadership my entire life. And what that looked like for me was taking accountability. It was stepping up. It was being an initiator and not waiting for things to happen. This is what I saw modeled for me. It was about servant leadership. Now, people are using that term a lot lately. Back when I watched them, they weren't saying I'm a servant leader, but they were demonstrating servant leadership. Wow. So I've watched it my whole life. It was modeled for me. So I can't help but model that for my own children and for others that I lead.
Wow, that's awesome. So who is Miss Tina Grimes? Tell us something about yourself that others need to know about you.
Yeah, so it's Grimes, Tina Grimes.
Oh, I'm stuck to
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's Grimes.
That's a learning. It's a learning to the learning zone.
It's Grimes, yeah. But I'm a servant. I'm a servant leader. My heart is for people. So what I do in life is very natural for me. So let me just take you back a little bit. So I was the kid, Dr. Michael, growing up, who I always made straight A's in school, but it was always that little comment box on the report card. It said talkative. I don't know if you had report cards like that.
Chatty.
But there was always a comment box. And so the teachers always wrote talkative in the comment box. So my mother would look at my report card she knew I would always have all A's, but her eyes would automatically go down to that little box in the right-hand corner. And I go, okay, here we go. And it would always say talkative. But here is the beauty of it for me. My mother saw a gift early in life. So she didn't beat me up about talking in class. She would ask me, what are you talking about so much? And I started to tell her like some of the things that I would talk about and some of the things that were interesting to me. And so what my mother did was she nurtured that. She cultivated that gift that she saw. And this talkative kid that the teachers tried to make it a negative, my mom reinforced that and showed me that this could be a very positive thing. She just said, stop talking when they tell you not to talk. She said, however, go and research stuff. So she would allow me the opportunity to go and research things that I was interested in. And then I would come back and the family would be my audience. And I would get a chance to stand before them and actually present and talk about things. And they would ask me questions.
At what age? At what age is this?
For as early as I can remember, like first grade, second grade, you know, I mean, and it continued throughout, you know, my development and my matriculation in school.
So your mom was creating a learning laboratory for you at home.
Definitely. And that's exactly the same thing that I've done for my own children. Saw that, you know, when I see the gift, actually, even after we finish this podcast, my son has so many amazing talents. So I'm taking him some places, even when we finish today, so that he could be exposed to some people who are doing various things in areas that he may not know about, that will cultivate the talent that he has. So this summer, I want him to be able to spend time around people who are creatives doing the kinds of things that he likes. So my mother realized early on, you know, that this talkative child that teachers tried to make that into something negative, but my mom turned it into something positive. To something positive.
Let me pick your brain on. Let me pick your brain on this. There was this research that was said about testing genius in the rookie, because you just touched on something very important that I want everyone to pay attention. That's why we do this kind of podcasts, you know, because many people, they are not fortunate, just like you, that, like I said, your mom created a learning laboratory. And I heard about this man that when he started speaking, when he grew up, and the father was telling him that we have to pay you to keep quiet, you know, but now, you know, we didn't even know that you can, really talk like this, you know, like, what he was emphasizing then is when he was growing up, you know, they have to pay him to be quiet, you know. But now they found that he has a gift. And that gift that he has was really something that they are trying to repress. But that was a negative. There's an echo coming up. Is there something on that is making my voice to echo? Yeah.
I don't hear you echoing.
Okay, I can hear that. Okay, it's okay. So now, there's a research that says that they take some set of kids, they are 5-year-old, and when they did tested their genius, they found that they tested 98% of genius. Then 5 years after, when they are 10-year-old, they have gone down to 30%. Then by the time they tested them, 10 years after, it has gone down to 12%. They now realize what is responsible for is education has really dumped those kids, in the sense that they're telling them what to do and all that. They're not encouraging them on how to think, and to be creative and all that, So my question is, in what way do you want to really encourage, especially parents, because you have a book about grammar, CEO. In what way do you want to really encourage them on how they can intentionally, because you have a brand to your name about Tina, turning intent, something to action. Maybe you can expound on that. But in what way can you inspire parents on how they can catch that gift early in their kids and how they can nurture it? Thank you.
Yeah. So, I'm the CEO of TINA Enterprises, which stands for Turning Intent into Action.
Awesome.
And turning intent into action. And so what many people don't know, and you may not even be aware of this, Dr. Michael, when I started my business 30 years ago, my focus was solely on youth, because what I saw is exactly what you're speaking about. I knew that there was something in me that desired speaking. I knew there was something in me that desired to move people from where they are to where they want to go. That's that's intent to action, right?
Yeah.
So I knew that early on in life. However, even when I interned, like I was in a phenomenal program where I interned for 4 summers straight while I was in college. I started the summer before my freshman year. But even while I was doing that, there was still something on the inside of me, even while I was doing those things, that I knew I hadn't yet tapped into purpose. So once I graduated from college with an undergraduate degree in finance, I went to work, at a place where everybody said was the best place, and I was making great money, and I was, operating and working in my field. But what many people didn't understand was that I knew early on that I wasn't majoring in finance so that I can go and work on Wall Street or work in the place where I was working. I did it because I knew I had a passion for creating a financial literacy program for young people. And I also knew that one day I would want to know how to manage my own finances, because I always dreamed big and knew that, and I said, I'm going to want to know how to handle and manage my own finances. Now, why am I saying that? I'm saying all of that because at 23 years old is when I became crystal clear on purpose. Like God gave me so much clarity. That was 30 years ago. If you all are doing the math, I was 23 years old. I got so much clarity at 23 years old about what my purpose in life is. So I'm saying that because it goes back to what I shared with you with my mom nurturing the gift that I had on the inside of me. So now at 23 years old, all of these things came together. And that's when I actually started my business, which I started with a youth component, not just with financial literacy, but with teaching young people public speaking skills, teaching young people to tap in and identify their purpose. Because what I saw is if I could do for young people what my mother did for me, which is help them to understand that there's more than just the traditional roles that people try to push young people into, I started helping them identify what is it that makes you excited? What is it that you're very passionate about? What is it that you can't wait to get up and do? So instead of going straight to talking about a career, I started helping them look introspectively to understand more of who they are. And then from there, understanding what makes them tick and what excites them and all of those types of things, then I started to introduce them to careers that aligned with what it is that they were interested in. And if that career didn't exist, I started to tell them, or if I didn't know about it, I also started to talk to them about entrepreneurship and how they can create for themselves businesses that align with what they believe their life purpose is. Wow. So that's what I would share with adults and with parents. And you don't have to have your own child. I didn't have any children at the time when I was 23 years old and started doing this. But when we look at all children as our children, I believe I have a responsibility, not just to nurture my own children, but to pour into all children that I can come in contact with. And so even if you don't have your own children, it's identifying those kids who you can take under your wing and you can mentor them, not just to tell them, oh, you should do this and you should do that, but to flip it and really listen to them and hear what it is that's on the inside of them and help to bring that out. Wow. So I've been doing that with many other people's children before I even had children of my own.
That's
and
awesome. So yeah, it was easy for you to do that when Maya came and the brother. Yeah, and actually, there's so much about me that, I haven't shared that you may not know, but Maya is not even the first child that I've raised. My sister. Wow. Yeah, my sister is actually my first child that I raised. I didn't give birth to her. Yeah, I think I had that story before after your mom passed, that you took control as a little mama. Years old. Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. My question next is, what is the price you have paid towards leadership development. And because you've had so much success, like I said, you're one of the people that I really respect. I've learned a lot from you, and I'm still learning, And one thing I've learned from you is you are more interested in clarity, giving people clarity. Because I remember we had a situation we got to go over, but I won't forget how you see, you don't know a leader. You don't know a leader in time of convenience. In time of crisis, that's when that stuff comes out. And I saw it. And I mean, to me, that was an teaching moment. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. So my question is, what price have you paid? Because you see, a lot of people, they just think that leadership is free and all that. You don't have to pay any prices. They just see you now. They didn't know the price that goes into your preparation. Because the difference between a talent and a skill is preparation. And it takes discipline. So what does your price look like for you? Every leaders have paid a price. So for you, what does that look like? Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. You see, as soon as you said that, I had a reaction to that because I can't even, the price has been astronomical. But, with great responsibility comes great cost. So that's another thing that my mother and my grandmothers really positioned me for in life. They helped me to understand they didn't hide their scars. They didn't hide the cost and the sacrifice and the hard work and the blood, the sweat, the tears. They didn't hide that stuff from me. So my expectation of what I had to go through in developing myself and in being developed as a leader, I had the expectation. I had already level set on that expectation that there's a great cost. So I'll start back with even at 23 years old, like I said, when I say that, and I say at 23 years old, I became crystal clear on purpose, people get excited about that. And they go, oh my goodness, that's so great. And I go, yeah, it sounds like it's great, but it is a major cost that you pay early on or at some point in life where you realize what your purpose in life is, and you draw the line and you make a decision and say, I refuse to do nothing else except operate in purpose. And that's what I did at 23 years old. And it cost me something. It cost some people that were supposed to be friends, because they didn't understand the sacrifice that it took time-wise for me to be able to put into what it is that God had given me to do and to put into my development. So if you think about it, at 23 years old, a lot of people are doing a lot of other things. Yeah. But at 23 years old, I was focused. And so people said a lot of things, and she thinks she's this, or she thinks she's that. No, I didn't think anything. I knew very clearly who I was and who I am. And I knew the things that I had to start to do in order to do that. In addition to that, I was raising a 10-year-old because my mother had just passed away. So I got crystal clear. Fast forward, I was working, in corporate America. And I knew that it was time for me to make a move. That was at 23. Like I knew that it was time for me to make a move. But so many people were in my ear saying, oh you're crazy. That doesn't make sense. You're 23 years old, you're single, you're no kids, and you're making all of this money, in corporate America. Why would you leave a corporate job? The sacrifice and the cost, but I was crystal clear that that was the timing for me. And I made that bold move in order to do that. Wow. And here we are 30 years later, right? So there's a great cost. And I still pay, right? We still do.
Yeah. Non-stop payment.
I'm ever learning and I'm ever growing. And so that it's never it for me. And so as you continue to learn and grow and develop, there's always going to be more cost and sacrifice that's attached to it. One of the best things that that happened for me was when I started to really understand. Actually, John Maxwell calls it the Law of Tradeoffs. That's what I thought about when you were talking about. I didn't have a word for it 30 years ago. I just operated in it, and it was maybe 8 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, that I was like, oh, that's what we can call that. So there's always a cost. There's always a sacrifice.
Yeah.
But here's what I said that I don't want people to miss. What I do, even for my own children right now, is I make sure that their expectation, we level set on expectations. Whatever it is that you're working hard to attain, whatever your goals are, I let them know that if there's going to be a cost involved.
Yeah.
You're going to have to sacrifice. There are things that you're going to have to give up in terms of time and all those types of things. But I let them know up front so that they actually expect that. And I think that's a difference maker. So many people think, see, I don't want them to think, oh, everything just comes free.
Yeah, for free. Yeah.
No,
that's so
I
true.
want them to understand that there's a cost. And
Yeah.
even where they are now in life, there are things that they go after, and, they're athletes and they do all kinds of different things in life, and they see that there's sacrifice and there's cost that comes along with it.
That's so true.
The same principles apply to my corporate clients. I'm coaching CEOs, around the same things. But here's the thing. I find that the earlier you learn these things, the easier it becomes. Yeah. Because there's some people who they got up the ladder really fast and they're at this particular place, but they didn't necessarily work for what it was that they got. So they don't appreciate it the same way. And they don't understand the cost that's involved. So that's something that's near and dear to me. You touched on education. So I sit on a board of directors for a school. I have given lots of time in schools over the past 30 years for that reason, because I would totally redesign education. If I were able to, I would totally redesign it so that it looks more of the model like you and I are talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, because the word education has a root word, educo. And that word educo means to draw out from within. And when we believe that people have ability, we can encourage creativity. But when we believe people lack ability, we don't encourage that. Yeah. My next question for you is this. I believe mentorship has a big role in us becoming who we are wired to be. And so many people, they just think that they don't need no mentorship. Ben Johnson, an author, said, that he that is only taught of him by himself has a fool for a mentor. To me, I believe mentorship is a real necessity in our life. It helps us, to really be who we are meant to be. So who are the mentors that have really helped you in your leadership journey?
Yeah, I have had several mentors in my leadership journey, and I've had them at various stages of my journey. And it seems like each time I'm making a paradigm shift or moving to another stage in my journey, the right mentor comes into my life. So I always have more than one mentor as well. And the great thing also for me about mentors is some of them are right within my own family. I have uncles who they have poured into me in ways that it's just really, really amazing. Like as a kid in our family, when we had family gatherings, people always knew that you had to show up at the family gathering with a plan, because my uncles were going to ask you, even at 10 years old, like, where are you going to college? And what is it that you're interested in doing? So I've had very good mentors at various stages of my life. And for me, I have someone who's a spiritual mentor. And then I have someone who's more of a business mentor. And then I have someone who is more of a financial mentor. And then I also, I don't necessarily hadn't categorized them this way, but they're still mentors. Like even in parenting, parenting didn't come with a manual, so I always had people in my life who I believed were doing parenting in a way that aligned with my values of parenting. And so they also, served as mentors in those roles as well. But like you said, I 100% believe in mentorship. I don't ever want to be the person who knows everything.
Yeah.
People say these things, but I've always, ever since I can remember in life, I've always tried to make sure that I was around people who were stretching me and growing me, and where I could be in a room and go, wow, I didn't know that, because I'm always in spaces where I'm the person pouring into everybody else. That's just who I'm called to be in life.
Yeah.
I'm always in places where I have answers and I'm helping people move from where they are to where they want to be. But I'm very purposeful about making sure that I surround myself constantly with people that are, even in industries, even in my professional coach development of coaching and speaking and training with adults in corporate America and things like that. I even go after the industries that I have no knowledge of. I have clients in the aviation industry. I have clients in the utilities industry, where I went in to do trainings in those organizations, and what they were saying sounded like a foreign language to me. But that excited me because that gave me something to grow.
Opportunity to learn. Yeah.
Opportunities to learn.
And to grow. Yeah.
And to grow. Yeah. And then they say, oh my God, it's like you've been in this industry forever. So I always like to surround myself with people in environments where I can learn.
Wow, that's awesome. Great. Now, I want to go back to that, because this is what I'm going to tag this particular podcast, Operating in Purpose. I can relate with that, because you talk about 23. It was just about that time that I got clarity of purpose myself. I was in medical school then, initially when I was in community college, I didn't know anything about purpose. I was just like living like anybody else. But at 22, that was when I have a turning point, when I come to know the one that made me. I realized there's a purpose. I want to be a medical doctor, but I just don't know that God has a purpose today. So tell me, when you talk about operating in purpose, what does purpose means to you as a person? How can you define purpose as a person? Yeah.
Let me define it this way. Take a deep breath in. Now exhale. That's purpose for me. It's why I breathe.
You're funny. I didn't know that's what I was going to say.
That's purpose. Purpose for me is why I breathe. It's why God gives me breath to continue to get up daily to do what it is that I'm called to do. Purpose is that serious for me. At 23 years old, I actually said that. Like, when I got crystal clear on my purpose, I said there would not be one day for the rest of my life that I will wake up and get out of bed and not walk and operate in purpose. And so what I call it is my purpose rubric. So it's very easy for me. People present me with a lot of opportunities. People ask me to do a lot of things. They ask me to be a part of a lot of things. They ask me to come and coach and speak and train in a lot of different places. I have my purpose rubric. If it doesn't align, it's an easy no for me.
So what do you call it? Purpose rubric?
Purpose rubric. Yeah.
How do you spell it? R-U-B-R-I-C?
R-U-B-R-I-C. You'll see it in my next book. Yeah, it's my purpose rubric. That is how I've operated for the last 23 years. And what the rubric is, it's just like in college or in high school or whatever, when you're doing a project and the teacher will tell you, well, you'll get 20 points for doing this, and they'll map out what things you have to do to get those points. And then you'll get 20 points for this, and they'll map out what those things are. So it's the rubric or the measurement, right? It's that thing that it's going to be gauged or judged how you did.
The indicators.
The indicators, right, exactly. And so I'm writing about this because I've been really capturing this for the past 30 years. Once I got crystal clear on purpose, that became my benchmarks, my measurements, my indicators, my purpose rubric. And so it started to help. See, I'm highly eye-wired. So I'm good at a lot of different things. So I can figure out a lot of stuff. I can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But because I'm highly eye-wired, I have to make sure that I'm not doing a whole lot of things, that I'm just doing the things that align with purpose.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I have my rubric, and if it aligns, then yes. If it doesn't,
it's
then
no.
no.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it makes things
that's a good
lot
filter. Yeah, that's a good filter. So what is the greatest lesson you have ever learned in your life?
Wow. The greatest lesson that I've ever learned in my life, well, I would say one of, because there are really two for me, but one of the greatest lessons that I've ever learned in my life is that I can't drag people kicking and screaming to the finish line. I can't. So I say that because I'm a people first kind of person. That's how I'm wired. And as I mentioned, turning intent into action is what my purpose is. It's to be a catalyst and a connector in other people's lives. It's to help them tap into their purpose and help them move and operate in it. But one of the things that I was doing early on in life that my mentor is the one who told me, you got to stop trying to drag people kicking and screaming across the finish line. Because even as a person who is called to pull things out of other people and help other people identify purpose and help other people to execute, and not just live in the lane of intentionality, what started happening for me is I started getting really, really bogged down and really disappointed and things like that when I'd be pulling people and really wanting them, trying to get them to move. And then my mentor said, no, like people, which is why I don't call myself a motivator, because I believe everybody has to have something inside of them already. I can help ignite that thing that's on the inside of them. Yeah. I can help draw it out of them, but I can't put it into them. And so that was a really good lesson for me. And it's one that I continue with even to this day. Like when I'm deciding, when it's enough is enough, even with a client, because sometimes people don't necessarily want to move. They may say they want to move, but sometimes people don't have that drive and that innate thing that they actually need.
Wow,
in order
that
to
they
do
have.
that.
That's awesome. Wow,
Yeah, so that was good advice.
That's good. So what are you learning right now? What are you learning right now?
What I'm learning right now is to continue to tap into, what I'm learning right now is to continue to tap into the foundation of what it is that I do, and to, what's the word for it? To diversify my portfolio in that area. So let me tell you what I mean by that. So I know I'm crystal clear and have been for 30 years of who I am and what God has called me to do. And so I speak, I coach, I train, and so forth, right? But there are other things that also align with that, like my book. This is my second book that I've written, right?
What's your first one?
It's entitled Grandmother CEO also. This is the 10th anniversary edition.
So this is an upgrade of their one.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the content and what this is about. But this is an example because what I'm looking at now, I'm 53 years old now, which I'm just so grateful. And what I'm looking at is how to continue to do what I do, but I'm learning to develop things that makes all of this sustainable. Like
a system? Is that what you mean?
Like systems.
The law of design.
Also, my my programs and things like that I'm automating things and making things setting things up where they're executed in a way that I don't always have to be there. Yeah. I'm learning that right now because I love the human interaction, so I believe until I'm at least 100 years old, I'm going to still be in front of a room engaging with people and enjoying people and things like that. But what I'm learning now is how to take some of these things in technology, and how to package the things that I do so that even when I'm not there, they're reaching more people around the world.
Wow.
Right. So I'm really learning that, because technology is not something that I get excited about. Right. So what I'm learning is, I don't have to necessarily do all of those things myself, but I'm learning more about how to systematize some of the things that I currently do. I'm learning how to
digitalize,
multiply, how to, I don't necessarily want to use the word scale per se, because people use that, a lot of different ways, but I'm learning how to be in so many places at one time when I'm not physically there. It's those kinds of shifts that I'm really learning how to utilize technology and how to
leverage it.
Create and package curriculum, and things like that.
Wow.
So that it can continue to, while I'm here talking to you, it's operating.
Yeah. Someone can easily gain access to that. Yeah. Exactly. Because of the time that we have, I wanted to quickly, because of the time we got like 2 more minutes, talk about this Grammar CEO. Why did you name your book Grammar CEO? Why? All the topic in the whole world.
Yes, but this beautiful lady here is Elmer Basil Thomas. This is my paternal grandmother.
Okay.
And my grandmother, CEO stands for caring, elegant, and outstanding.
Woo.
That's what the CEO stands for. She was a lady of ladies. And at the same time, she was CEO, the boss. And so over the years, Dr. Michael, I have always shared with corporate clients and one-on-one executive clients, in everything that I coach and train them on, I always drop some nugget of what my grandmother said. And they have found it to be so valuable that I wrote Grandmother CEO, because they are life lessons that I've learned from my own grandmother that can help my clients and help others lead them to true success, which success for me means reaching your God-given purpose or potential.
Wow.
So my grandmother was so instrumental. She was featured in Southern Living magazine and lots of other publications where other people wrote about my grandmother in my lifetime. But I had the honor before she passed away of writing Grandmother CEO. And she traveled with me and we did book launches. Our first customer bought 500 books. We sold about 5,000 books in the first month that the book was released. So I have companies that are actually asking me specifically to come in and do training for them around Grandmother CEO. So there are 25 lessons in here that touches on things, succession planning, how to value people in your organization, connecting principles, all of those things. But you learn something about my amazing grandmother.
So where can people get the book?
Yeah, so they could get the book on my website, which is tinaenterprises.com. That's where it's available now for pre-order. They will also be able to get the book on Amazon and other platforms as well. But this is fresh off the presses. This is the first copy of the book.
Wow, that's
awesome.
Awesome.
I got off the airplane yesterday.
How many pages there?
It's 134 pages.
Wow, that's awesome.
Pages. Yeah.
Question.
So you do the work. So you don't just read the book, you do the work. So you hear the story, you get the principle or the lesson, there's a reflection, and you do the work. So this is personal growth and development. So you have to do the work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, before we close out, I would like to just you to share with people how they can get connected with you, because I see a lot of people are asking questions that how can we link up with you? They want to connect with you. And I tell you, you got so much. I just have to cut it down, because I can take you another direction and pull out so more, but I'm sensitive about the time. So tell us, how can people link up with you if they want to connect with you? Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So my website is www.tinaenterprises.com. So that's Tina, TINA, enterprises with an S on the end .com. So even from my website, you can connect with me from there. There's a place that you can hit a button. You can send me an email, or you can reach out to me other ways there. My handles on social media is @TinaWillSpeak. @TinaWillSpeak. So on Instagram @TinaWillSpeak, on Twitter @TinaWillSpeak. I'm also on LinkedIn, Tina E. Grimes. And those are my social media handles, as they say.
Wow, that's awesome. So we want to say thank you, Ms. Tina, for nurturing us, adding value to us, and you very phenomenal in staying on that track of purpose. And I was talking to a friend of mine in United Kingdom this morning. We were just talking about when you aim for nothing, you don't miss anything. Yeah. When you aim for nothing, and that's how many people live life. They're not missing, they're not aiming for something, and they're not missing anything, because someone said it's not that we have we aim so high, he said that, but we aim so low and hit it.
Yeah.
You have taken time to aim so high, and your children, they have gotten that from you. Like I said, there's no greater joy than for a parent and to not that you're just doing something, but your children are taking after. I tell you, that's the greatest message. I mean, you can take Maya now. You can go to a speaking engagement. You don't have to say something. Give her the mic. They say, "Wow, okay, this."
No,
you've already made a statement that if you can lead in your home, then you are a fraud. So I want to say thank you for not just being a star, but for being a star creator, because my sister, she just accepted my link, and I said, "Wow, you are $1 million scholar." I like that. I like that legacy. I don't believe in, you saying something, and your children that they like, my mom, it's like they know you better than everyone knows you. And John Maxwell says success to me is when the people closest to me, that when they really affirm me. Yeah, that's it. So thank you so much. And viewers and listeners, we didn't let you down today with our guest speaker. She has really brought in the goods, because I believe that what you have is not all that I know about her, because she got so much, but we don't want to continue on and on. We're gonna bring her again. I promise you. She's my boss, so I can get her for the part 2. By the time we get her, by that time she'll be talking about the purpose rubric. Because but the way she said it, I'm really interested in that. So we're gonna bring her back. Maybe when the book is about to come out, she's gonna talk about that. Because Miss Tina, she's a woman of purpose. So Miss Tina, thank you again. And thank you, viewers, till we come your way with another guest speaker. Next time, make sure you apply what you just had, because application is the key to transformation. Thank you.